You're listening to the LaRocque Life Podcast, where hosts Michael and Laura explore relationships, adventure, freedom, and just some all-around real and raw conversations, drawing from their 17 years together with a bit of sarcasm, humor, tears, a few and lots of love. They deep dive into the male and female perspective on relationships and navigate the highs and lows of life together. Sit back, grab your love mug, and let's get into today's conversation.
Perfect. Well, how's it going?
It's going great.
Caught me off guard. Awesome. I'm excited for tonight.
Yeah, we have some special guests again today. And we're going to just hop on or get them to hop on here right away. I'll just quickly explain who they are. Lisa and Lindsay are also relationship coaches. And we met on Instagram, actually. And so I think it's such a cool thing because they coach couples and individuals, I do believe. We'll have to discuss that with them on relationships, and as do Mike and I. But I mean, we are different and the same, and it is so cool. And I've had a few conversations with these ladies now, and we could probably talk forever and ever and ever. And so I'm sure there'll be more of these to come, but let's just bring them on and introduce them, let them kind of introduce themselves and just really jump right into the conversation.
Sounds good. You didn't psych me out all the time like before.
Hi. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. So good to be here.
We're so glad you guys could join us. And as I was just saying in the intro, I think it's so cool that we do the same thing, but we totally don't do the same thing all at the same time.
I totally agree.
Yeah, we think that's awesome too. And and it's so fun to just be here with you guys tonight and be able to just like chat and come from the same place and want the same things for people, but just a different angle. Love it.
Yeah, totally. Right. And so, okay, we were just saying that Mike thought you guys were sisters or just relatives?
Definitely related. Yeah,
definitely related. And you guys were like, no, we're friends. But it's really cool because you guys live on the same street, do you not? Or in the same neighborhood?
In the same neighborhood. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like a 5-minute drive. So it's pretty close.
Right. Okay. Yes. That's what you had told me before. So, you guys have told me this before, but I think that for the people who are listening, and Mike doesn't know this, I love your guys' story about how you became relationship coaches because it wasn't always like this for you, right?
No. we have other lives.
Let's hear it.
For sure. Yeah. You want to go?
Sure.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah. So, oh gosh, where do we even start? Yeah. Essentially, I've been coaching for about 10 years and have my own practice. Lyndsey was in KPMG and also became a certified coach. So 2 coaches living 2 different worlds. And then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but over a number of years, my marriage started deteriorating and I ended up getting separated. And I showed up on Lindsay's doorstep in a puddle of tears one day. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to need you, girl. And so she essentially coached me through my divorce, and it was able to end really amicably and in record time. So I would say about 6 months. And at the end of that 6 months, Lindsay was looking for work. I was looking for work, and we just sat down and we said, like, what we just did was kind of incredible. Like, what do people do if they don't have a Lyndsey helping them through?
Yeah.
And so we decided that there was like this really important niche that we could help, this sort of this gap, and we wanted to fill it, helping people like respectfully end their relationships and do that, where their integrity and their bank accounts and their, love for each other was still intact. So we had good intentions.
Yeah.
And we want to take over.
Well, we just basically, over the year that we did that, we learned that we are far, far more passionate about keeping people together than helping them split up. And you're going to kill me for saying this, but also people are kind of crazy when they're split up.
What do you mean?
So yeah, no, but mostly it was just, we really found that the couples that did stay together when they had come to us to to end the relationship. It was so gratifying when we were able to kind of work with them and be like, yeah, you just haven't communicated. Like maybe this isn't the end, and work with them. And that was just far more satisfying. And
we saved marriages.
it was,
We saved marriages. People came to us thinking that they were leaving their marriage, and we ended up helping them stay in their marriage. And we're like, this is really cool.
Way better.
Yeah. And then, so then we decided, okay, we hired some great coaches who helped us create a business plan and a vision for ourselves. And we sort of said, okay, 5 years from now, where do we want to be? And we're like, yeah, relationship experts. We want to be doing the relationship sphere. And that just made so much more sense. It was more in tune with our values. And so we rebranded last fall from the Big D coaches to the relationship coaches. And now we coach individuals and couples on their relationships with themselves, with their partners, and then with all the people in their lives, from in-laws to colleagues to bosses, kids, you name it. So all relationships.
All relationships. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, we talk a lot about relationships, obviously, with your intimate partner, but relationships are everything, and with everyone that you come in contact with, even if they're a stranger or a new friend or whatever. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And the most important one being with yourself. So yeah,
exactly. And that's where it all starts. I think that that's so cool that you guys went from like divorce coaching to this. Who do you say though that you work with more? Like, cause Lisa, you just explained that, like, yourself, couples, but your in-laws, your kids, all of that. Who do you guys find do you see more of in that regard? Like, is it more couples or is it more individuals that are seeking help? I'm just curious myself.
Yeah, I feel like people often come to us to work on their intimate relationship, but what really needs to happen is a lot of work on themselves first, and they just don't realize that yet. So, but I would say, I mean, we do have a good mix of people that we coach individually and then couples. Lisa works much more with couples than I do. So yeah, we get a mix.
Yeah, that's really cool. I find that too, because it's always like women blaming their partner for not being or doing or whatever, right? But it's like, okay, let's just not talk about him for a second and let's talk about you. And usually it's kind of like, I don't want to do that. But and that was my story, because that's what I did to Mike, or about Mike. But then I was like, wait, you mean I have issues that I need to work on? No, I'm perfect. Yeah, that's your issue. Okay.
No, it is. Well, that's what it is. Like everybody always has to be, there always has to be one leader, right? That makes that choice. And then usually the woman wants to make that choice, and then the guy belligerently follows if he wants to keep going or wants to keep moving. And then once most men are in it, then that's where I step in, and they're like, okay, well, now I don't know what the fuck I want. I'm so lost. Like, what do I do? And then that's where we try to figure out just some passions or some patterns that we can get into, healthy patterns and healthy habits. So it's funny that you say that. All of us, right? It's always relationships, my partner, whatever it is, but it always boils down to yourself.
A huge look in the mirror. We have some fun questions that fun topics we want to get in with you guys. But first, I was just curious, do you find that, is it more women or more men who come to you initially?
Definitely more women.
Yeah. Okay.
And what I was going to add to Mike's point is like that. I agree that I would say if we're making like an archetype of the typical client, it would a lot of the time be a woman coming on her own to work on her relationship, and then she goes back and teaches her partner what she's learned, or they come together. But the thing that I've noticed about the couples that I work with, even if it was like if the husband was joining because the wife was the one initiating it, once we start doing the work and they realize that it's not all like therapy and talking about your past and talking about, the old fights you've been in, that it's really like present and future focused and goal oriented, and teaching you new tools. Like I found that the husbands or the male partners are the ones who are like, so like, we don't have to end after 3 months, right? Like they want to keep going because they're like seeing such a huge change in their relationship, and they're having more sex and they're talking about things more. And I think the things that they initially thought were going to be scary or that they were going to get blamed for, they realize like, I'm a hard ass, and I'm sure you guys are too, like on both parties. And I call them out. And I think the women are often like, whoa, like she called me out. Like, so I think that it's beautiful to see someone who was hesitant at first jump in, do the work, and then see the positive changes on that relationship. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. We're like totally in alignment. We see that happen as well. And I find it is usually the women who come. And then obviously that just trickles into their relationship because as they change the dance, then their partner has to find some new steps, right? But what was really cool is we just did a 6-week program and it was for couples, but we'd never done for couples before. And it was specifically for couples. I'd only ever worked just strictly with women. And half of that group was women who had already worked with me, but their partners had seen that shift. And so they were like, okay, yeah, let's totally do this together. Because if you could change that much, how much could we change together? Right. So I think that's really cool because there's always sort of this stigma around working on your relationship. And sometimes it's worse for men. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so true. And I don't know if you guys find this, I'd be curious, but we find that there's a lot of people, even after I get why people didn't necessarily want to say like, I'm working with the big D coaches, but like, we thought we were being
I thought it was
quite crafty with that one. But I find even as the relationship coaches, there's still a huge hesitancy for people to say or admit that they're working on improving their relationship. Do you guys find that too? That there's like there's a bit of a barrier for people?
Totally. Like, I feel like there's some shame around it, which is super annoying on this side of it now, but I get it on the other side because I was the exact same way. Like when you think or pretend or portray that you have a great relationship, it is hard to, acknowledge that you are working on it. But I would love to see, just like all mental health things, I would love to see relationship coaching become a lot more mainstream. Right? Like everyone talking about working on their relationships, whether that is with their partner or just themselves or everyone. Right? So I love that we can do that with our messages.
Yes, absolutely. And I find so even with life coaching, I think there's a bit of a barrier, at least. And I don't know. I think that the more people hear about coaching, the more that wall might come down because we work with clients a lot, like in a proactive way, right? Like we say all the time, like, come to us before there's any issue and let's just like learn some things together. And those clients that do are like, they're leaps and bounds ahead of others, right? And if you think about it, that's also kind of me and Trevor. So my husband and I, that's kind of like, as we became the relationship coaches and everything that we did and learned, we tried on us.
Yeah.
So he was like full on guinea pig. And at first he was like, really? Like, really? We're doing this? But now he's like in love with it. He's like, every time there's something new, he's like, when do we start?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's a great segue into something that we wanted to talk about because I was saying to Mike, your guys' dynamics are really awesome because Lisa is divorced and in a new relationship. And Lyndsey, you've been in a relationship for many years, right?
Yeah.
So
how long have I been married?
That would be a question you should
2007. We were similar, Laura. I think you and I were similar. So we got married in 2007 and it had been 4 years that we'd been together. So
okay. Yeah, I think we are like the exact same then because we got married in 2010, but we'd been together for 6 years. So give or take a year there. But yeah, exactly. So that is so cool. And I think that that's such a cool dynamic that you guys bring to your coaching practice because you have like such a vast array of experience, right? But this is something that Mike and I always talk about with people. We're like, we don't know this. This is not our like forte. We haven't dated anyone in 17 years. So Lisa, we want to know, what is it like dating people in 2020, 21? I mean, I'm assuming you're still with your partner or you were with him at the beginning of 2021. So in the 2020.
Okay, so wow. I mean, how much?
What's it like?
The Cliff Notes version.
Okay, Cliff Notes version. So yeah, I mean, it's like anything that you haven't done for like 20 years, but you did at one point and you go back to doing. So maybe you took a break from biking or swimming or skiing or something like that. And then you fundamentally know, like, I remember how to flirt. I remember how to do those things, but like, it's really like a whole new game. And so I would say that I for sure did it in stages. Like the first was like an extremely resistant stage.
Extremely resistant.
Where it was sort of like I was like, my sisters and Lyndsey kind of encouraged / forced me to do my online
Profile.
what's it called? My
Yeah.
profile. And then it was like, then all of a sudden there's like this influx and it was super overwhelming. And I was like, how do you know about people online? And
No, it was not overwhelming. It was so exciting. I was like, give me your phone. I was like, oh, right, left, right. So I'm like, this is the most fun I've had in years.
Says the person in a 17-year relationship.
So truth of it is that Lyndsey did manage my online dating profile for me and like did a lot of the conversations and a lot of this stuff. And it was like, this sounds so bad. I can't believe I'm going to admit this, but it was like almost like a party trick for like, yeah, I'd go with all my like married mom friends and they'd be like, hand me that phone. And they would just be having a blast. And the next morning I would have started conversations with like 4 to 10 different men that I had no idea what they had said. Right. So I'd have to go back and read it. And so yeah, I was mostly like other people doing it for me at first. And then I realized like, if I don't actually jump in and take it further than just the online conversations, like you're not really trying it out. So I was like definitely resistant. And then I went through the phase of like, okay, let's do this. And I'm going to jump in and I'm going to go on the dates. And so I started going on the dates and I was just like kind of shell shocked. Like, I remember the very first date that I went on and he talked for like 45 minutes straight. And then I was like, did you want to ask me a question?
Oh my gosh.
He came back shell shocked. She's like, I thought I was good at this.
Yeah. And I was like, I didn't know how to interrupt or like, I was like, it was such a newbie and it was I was not as good at it as I thought I would be for sure. And then I think the thing that happens to so many people, and this happened to me too, is like maybe the second or third guy I dated, like we went on a date and then he like totally ghosted me. And you hear of people doing this, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're like, but I'm tough. I'm like, I didn't think it was going to work either, but like, why are you? And I'm like one of those people that really believes in online integrity. And I'm like the old person in my rocking chair being like, that's not how we treat each other. and so I was like, okay, not a word of a lie. I waited like 2 days and I was like, everything okay? Because it was just weird. He was like everything was going great and then nothing. And then so I waited 2 days and then I sent him the emoji like crickets. And then I thought that was pretty clever, right? Still nothing. And then more crickets. And then finally, like a week later, he wrote back and I kind of land-based him a little bit because I was like, you know what? It's not okay to do this. Like I'm a grown ass woman. Like I don't mind. I can handle all of this, but like to just not speak like or text or anything like that's after weird. We've had like a really fun night together. Like, yeah, it was weird and painful and also mostly just rude, I thought. So I let him know.
You did. Yeah, you did.
Did you hear anything back from him?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I basically just like scolded him and just it's important to be kind and courteous and respectful to people. And then I had an experience where I had to be the one letting the other person.
Oh, you devastated that one guy. He was so heartbroken.
So he fell hard in 2 dates and it was like a hard no for me. And so I did the text the next day where he was like, what's our next date gonna be? I have all these ideas. And I was like, so super clear. Like it was really great meeting you and you're a great guy, and listed a few nice things about him. And then was just like, and it's a no for me. Like there's no chemistry. There's no chemistry is what I said. I was like, I don't know what's the easiest thing to say, but I just felt like that was. Anyways, he did not take that well. And it was like.
And then you had to coach him.
Yeah, it's not you, it's me. You're too good of a guy for me right now.
It was honestly the best response ever. He's like, no, there is chemistry.
Yeah. He's like, I don't think that you're not giving it a chance and you don't really know. And then, if I'd known that was going to be our last date, I wouldn't have taken you for dinner. And no, actually the best part.
I really got the lobster that night.
No, he did. He said, if I'd known that was going to, I can't remember to say this. If I'd known that was going to be the last date, I would have taken you to Tubby Dog. That's what he said.
I think we screenshotted that one. It was so classic.
And so I e-transferred him the money for the dinner because I tried to pay. And the whole money exchange thing is an interesting thing too, because I like really fought to pay because I kind of even knew at that point and I wasn't comfortable and I just wanted to pay. And he very much would not allow that to happen. There's like the floaty card. And then there's the like looking the server in the eye and being like, put half on mine. Like it was a legit. Yeah. Anyways, there were a lot of those kind of like, so yeah. Oh, I'm not keeping it short. But yeah, I think the main thing is you got to get in the game. You got to have the bad dates and the good dates, and you got to just try it out and try it on and have a sense of humor about it. And then you got to regroup and figure out what you actually want, which is what I did.
Yeah. And then how did you find your current partner?
Well, I actually did what we do for our clients. So we do a list. We have our clients do a list of like nice to haves, must haves, red flags, and deal breakers. And I actually looked back on one that I'd done at the beginning of right after I gotten divorced. And I like looked at it and I was like, oh, right. Like I do have an idea of what I'm looking for. And so, yeah, I say now that I like manifested it because I already knew what I wanted, but I was kind of just like, on the playground playing. And then I was like, okay, no, this is really what I want. And then I met Keith like probably a few weeks after that.
Yeah.
Really? And he was everything on the list?
Everything on the list and more.
Wow. Hey.
Yeah.
That's cool. But it's a good thing you didn't meet him right off the bat, right? Because you needed to experience that playground.
I think I did. Yeah. I know I did. Yeah, that was an important part of it for sure.
Yeah.
Totally. I think huge growth, but also just really great stories, right? Now, afterwards.
Yeah.
There were some good ones. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I could just imagine. I just can't imagine. I think I was telling you guys, my mom asked me for the online dating advice. I was like, I don't know. Like that was not around in 2004. Was it? No, it wasn't.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Hey?
You just met people at the bar,
Yeah,
the good
you just
old fashioned way.
fucking
You got
drunk
wasted.
yeah. If you end up sticking around the next day, then holy shit, we got something going. Then that's it, right? Yeah, that's about all you can do. I'd be fucking. I couldn't even imagine nowadays. Like it'd be tough on both sides of things, right? Like most of the men out there aren't men right now, so that would be hard on its own. And
what do you mean by that? Tell me more. That's fun.
Oh, I'm big on that, right? Like just men being men anymore. It just everyone's such whiny bitches because we don't know what
the men are.
The men are like we just don't know what we want, right? And then because everything's getting taken away from us, like we're not providing, we're not hunting anymore, we're not protecting really anything anymore. It's just so many things that are going against our nature, and most guys are just depressed. They're just little kids playing video games now, right? And it's hard. It's really hard. And then now women are coming up, right? Getting stronger, being more independent, and they're now the wage gaps are like closing and all these things. So most of these men don't have anything to really stand on anymore. So it'd be tough business out there both ways. I get it. I can only imagine. And then obviously with the ghosting thing, it'd be so easy right now. It just well, that didn't work, and then just shut it off, and then
yeah.
So much avoidance.
Oh God, it'd be hard. I mean, people don't even answer their fucking phone anymore, right? Like, so I could imagine the avoidance with dating.
It's huge, yeah. And if it's not ghosting, there's something called like breadcrumbing, right? Where it's like not.
Yeah. What is that?
Oh, fuck, I whip out the Urban Dictionary out here. What do we got?
You have to explain that to us.
It's not like a complete ghost where you just like are gone and don't talk to the person. It's like the person you converse and you're like, hey, like how's it going? Yeah, things are good, and they're just leaving little breadcrumbs, right? So they're still conversing, but like won't say like let's meet up for a date or let's like have a great conversation or let's do this. It's just like they won't.
You were about to say let's hook up. I heard it.
Me too.
I heard that. Oh,
what?
I heard it, and then you switched it.
Sorry, I'll fix it in editing. It's fine.
No.
Not to elongate that. Don't worry, I'll slow it down.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, hilarious. Yeah, it is crazy though. What a world to date in, where you can hide behind a screen, you can pretend, you can avoid, and
swipe culture. It's really hard because what happens is like I don't know what kind of shopper are you, Laura? Like are you the kind that has to like research everything and then pick the one that you want, or do you like pick the one once you see it?
I guess it depends on either how big of a purchase or how significant it is. But yes, generally the researcher type.
Right. Yeah. So I think a lot of people are doing that in dating now, right? So they're going like, I'm going to do all, there's so much variety and so many numbers out there, right? And so it's like, okay, I'm going to do the conversations with all, but then they're not really like ever coming back to like pick one. Or if they do, they do 100 and they go back to 30 and 30's already moved on. And they're like, Yeah. So I think that's happening a lot where people are like, I don't want to commit to this because they just see how many more options there are, right? So I firmly believe that it's like, figure out what it is that you're really looking for. Be honest and authentic from the very first moment, the very first text that you send them about who you are. And like, understand that all relationships take work, that maybe of those 100 people, there'd be 5 great matches, right?
Yeah.
So pick one, go for it, and do the thing.
I don't want to beat a dead horse on this, but did you run into a lot of what am I trying to say? Just where the guys, your profile picture was from like fucking back in the football days when you were looking awesome, and then now you're
so many no-nos for the guys' profiles. I honestly thought about just being like an online dating coach for men.
Yeah, like I mean, then did you meet them on the date night? You'd be like holding the picture. Is it like a bad sitcom, or you're like, what the fuck?
So many, I don't want to call them lies, misrepresentations.
Okay, yeah.
And it just doesn't make any sense because like the person's gonna find out, right? Like,
you're gonna meet the person. Yeah.
If they don't have hair, they're gonna know, right? So it's just it's one of those things where it's like, don't wear sunglasses in every picture. Like, don't have a whole bunch of pictures for the dudes anyways. Don't have a whole bunch of pictures with you and like all these other hot women. Don't have a bunch of pictures with you and all these other guys that we can't even figure out which one you are. No selfies in the mirror. No gym selfies. Come on. Like,
Well, how else are you going to show you fucking pump iron? Like, you can't just write that in the description. I mean,
you can actually. You can. Absolutely can.
That's so funny.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for sharing that because I mean, I am like sincerely intrigued. And I have a few single friends who online date and I'm always like right in there asking questions. Cause it's just such a different life. And I don't know. I just think it's so intriguing, but
absolutely.
Or you have to take their phone next time. Just
well, there you go. Right?
Yeah, I'd have the fucking guy crying on the other side after 10 minutes.
Yeah,
like,
just go real deep.
Yeah, get real deep, real fast.
Let's do some inner work here, okay?
Yeah. Do you really want this? Why are you saying those things? Yeah. Who hurt you as a child? And then get into all that.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine? Maybe we should just start a profile. And we could
No, we're not fucking catfishing anyone. We're not.
There are a lot of couples doing that. I was surprised at how many couples are looking for like a unicorn or like
really?
Yeah.
Okay, but just to be clear, that's not what I was saying. I mean, that is cool and that's interesting, but that's not what I was suggesting. I was actually suggesting we could create a profile and then we could go find people who just need, they need some coaching.
No, you psychopath. Anyway.
Okay,
it's a bad idea then.
Yeah, that's
Is
a
that
bad
the
idea.
consensus?
It's a bad idea.
Gosh, that's hilarious. Like create a profile, but instead of being like looking for dates, it's like looking to help people find the right date.
I mean, I'm just gonna
okay.
No one can do that.
Or I could just be a random girl on it who is looking for a date, but then, like you said, just like suddenly just slips into all the coaching and they're just like, who the fuck is this girl?
I randomly come in. It's like hitchhiking on the side, then I'll jump out of the ditch. Hey, I'm coming.
I don't recommend doing that, Laura. No. I actually had one guy that said he wouldn't, like, things were going well, and then he's like, sorry, I can't meet you for a date. And we were like at that stage we were about to, and I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, the fact that you're a life coach is just a deal breaker for me.
Really?
And I was like, okay, I guess he knows his boundaries.
Oh, that's fair.
Well, that is fair. Yeah. I don't think that would be hard. That would be really hard. And I think we're going to have to come back and have that conversation sometime because even for you, like it must have been hard to find people because I think about that often. If I wasn't with Mike and all of the work we've done together, like I feel like the fish in the sea would be very narrowed as to who I could be in relationship with at this point because of what we have now. Like it would be hard to beat. So we'll have to talk about that sometime. Yeah. Although I guess you had Keith, you said, right?
Yeah.
And he like checked off the list. So
higher EQ than I think any man that I've probably ever known. So
okay. So they are out there.
Point that was for sure important. Yeah.
Okay. So for ladies and men out there listening to this that are in the dating time of life, there are people out there who are so great. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Lyndsey, if you have to tell us then, because if you've been in a relationship for so long, everyone must come and think that you're the pro. You know everything about relationships and you nail it. Like You're the best.
You guys probably get that too. Like it's funny. They think that they come and they're just like, you must have this great relationship. Like you must do everything right. And it's almost like it's hard to share a story that is vulnerable where you're saying like, no, I'm on this journey too, because people just have this expectation that you're here, right? I'm sure you guys have experienced it as well. Like 17 years, there's an expectation. I don't know. And then also being a coach. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think for sure we've been quite vulnerable with it from the beginning. And then we've done a podcast episode even on like putting people on pedestals. Do not put people on pedestals, because do you guys remember when, like, do you know Heidi and Chris Powell, and then the Rachel
Wash your face.
Hollis? Yeah, because they all kind of split up at like the same time, and everyone was shocked. And in the comments, there was like this, everyone, and there's people are still doing it in the comments. And I'm like, okay, I get it. They were relationship coaches who may have put on a show that they had all their shit together. But at the same time, why are you putting these people on a pedestal? They're still human beings, right? Like,
absolutely. Yeah.
So we definitely made it our commitment to be like, we are not perfect and we go through shit all the time. I mean, we still fight. We just have tools that we work through it a little bit quicker. But that must be obviously what it's like for you and your husband.
Yes, 100%. That is exactly us. We totally fight all the time. I do things all the time that I teach my clients not to do. And then I have to go back and do the work and be like, God damn it, I did the thing. And I have to fix it. And we're human at the end of the day, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's such an important piece for people who are listening to know, and your clients to know, right? Because they're not striving for this level of perfection. And because when we think we're striving for that and we never reach it because it doesn't exist, then we're like, oh, now we're failing, right? But it doesn't exist.
No, it's the age-old, it's a journey kind of conversation, right? And if you think of it as a destination, you're going to be very disappointed.
Yeah. Totally. Mm-hmm. Totally. That's totally what I thought about our relationship when I was young. I think that they should have more Hollywood movies and maybe even lessons in high school that there is no fairy tale romance.
Yeah.
It might save a lot of, probably maybe men. I don't know. I can't speak for you, but girls, it would save a lot of broken hearts.
Well, a lot of guys are sensitive too, stuff happens.
Well, some of you don't act like it.
Yeah, there you go. Not me. I had a good question though for Lyndsey too, is how, like, I know my point of view or where I came from, but how did you get your man to kind of get on board? I'm sure he didn't just hop on right away, right? Like what did that look like?
Yeah, it's funny because now that we've shared our background, like coming from a place of we're going to be divorce coaches, he was very much like, I don't know about this. Like he was like terrified. He's like, are we getting a divorce at the end of this? And when he first like kind of supported the business, I think he was like on LinkedIn. Remember that post he made? He was like, I don't know how a husband is supposed to like support a wife's divorce coaching business, but my wife's doing this thing and you should follow her. And I'm like, you're so awkward, but amazing. But yeah, when we switched over to, we want to help people stay together. Like that is far more our passion. He was 100% on board with that switch for the business. I don't think he necessarily knew that meant he was going to be the guinea pig and the like tester outer of everything. But he was actually on board from the start. Like he kind of was. He was, as he saw us doing the things in the business. And we did so much research and so much looking into everyone's different programs. And none of it was exactly how we wanted it to be or how we would create something. So we'd try out everything on, while
we were developing our own program. But I would echo that. Like Trevor was very on board.
He was.
And truly has participated in everything. And I've gotten to bear witness to like how that's impacted your relationship. And he's like surprised me again and again in terms of like leveling up and his EQ and ability to tap into his emotions and have like the real deep conversations. Like I've known Trevor my whole life. So like I love him no matter what, but I had no idea that he had that depth. Yeah. So it's been,
he even surprised me.
Yeah. So it's been a beautiful thing to watch and witness, I guess, from my perspective. You didn't ask me, but I just said it anyway.
I like hearing from you. Yeah, he really was on board the whole time, which again doesn't mean that we've got our shit together, because we're not perfect by any means, but he's always on board with trying everything and learning the things. And yeah.
That's really cool, because I think that the number one, I guess, maybe characteristic to have for any person in a relationship is to just be curious, right? Because if it doesn't work, like not the relationship, but if you try something new and you don't like it or it doesn't work, then who cares? But you might find that thing that is like changes your whole life or changes your whole relationship, the whole trajectory of everything, right? So I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's never a point where you can't learn more or improve your relationship more. So it's always worth trying the new thing.
I think it's a big trap that couples, I see it happen all the time, where I'll be coaching someone and they'll be like, well, no, like I already know what they're going to say about that. And I already know, like they've already like predicted exactly how their partner will respond to every conversation. So they've lost that curiosity.
Yeah.
And so, I couldn't agree with you more, Laura, that if you come from a foundation and from a point of view of like always being curious and knowing and truly understanding that you don't actually know what your partner's thinking. You don't really know them as well as you think that you do, because they're changing just as much as you are.
Yeah.
The mind reading thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you allow them to, right? But you allow them to by allowing yourself to. That whole relationship with yourself. I think it's really cool that when one person comes, it's like they're being that change maker, right? And then allowing that space. So I think that's really cool that you decided even your husband surprised you with his EQ. And I just think that that's really cool, because I think it's so unconscious that we do that to our partner. Like Lisa said, like we think we know what they're going to say, but it's also like we just, no, you're this person and that's it. But it's such a beautiful place to realize that about yourself, because once you realize that about yourself, then you can realize that about other people, right? And create like a safe container.
Totally.
So cool. So cool. And for people who are listening, I'm always like, don't wait for your partner, because then you're going to wait forever and nothing's ever going to change. So just start making changes within yourself and they'll follow.
100%.
Or if they don't, then that's obviously another story, right? And Lisa, I know we had kind of talked about that before. So again, I think we're going to have another conversation, and we can go
like 10 conversations
or 10 more. Yeah. But before we end tonight, I want to ask you ladies what you think the number one relationship killer is.
So I'll let you take this one, Liz.
Yeah. Well, curiosity was a good one, but I think what we see is just the whole blame game. That is by far the number one relationship killer, and it can be either the man or woman or whatever your relationship is. But when one person starts to blame the other, it's just like this slow downhill fall, I find, and it's so easy to get trapped in the blame too. Like
oh my God, can I give an example of what happened before tonight?
Sure.
So since COVID, Trevor's been working from home and he's taken over Lindsay's office that we're in right now, right? So we're coming in and we're trying, I don't know if you can tell, I'm like taller than Lindsay, right? We're like trying to figure out chairs and do all these things. And she's like, damn it, Trevor in my chair in my office, and he's got it all messed up. And she was like, where was this coming from? But
it's totally our fault, right? Like, because we hadn't got a new setup in the
but
new
no,
lighting.
It's Trevor's fault.
It was Trevor's fault.
He had a chair in a certain way.
Yes.
And, so
and I was starting to get sweaty and angry. So it had to be his fault.
So it's like those small moments where it's just so easy to blame the partner. And the bigger stuff is truly like, so it's blaming them for the little things, but I think the bigger stuff is like blaming them for your own unhappiness, right? And like, I'm not happy because you're making me feel this way, or you're doing this to me, or you're not doing this, or if you only changed, then I'd be happy. And actually, Laura, I think you said this last time we chatted, if you're pointing the finger at someone, how many fingers are pointing back at you? And I think that's, it's easy to do. It's easy to blame. It's easy to put the responsibility of your happiness and your fulfillment and your connection on the other person. And as soon as we stop pointing the finger and start looking in the mirror, that's when the change really happens.
Yeah. We say that all the time. I think we even say it in our masterclass. Like when you blame someone for your own personal feelings or unhappiness, you're completely giving away your power. There it is. It's going right? And so it's such a missed and lost opportunity.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We totally agree. And obviously, you know, my finger pointing. I had to
I'm
tap
gonna
Mike
get you a
because
T-shirt about that.
he always laughs and makes fun of me when I say that. And I'm always like,
I
it's so
love it.
cliche, but
It's awesome.
so I had to kind of hit his leg. But and I love that you guys brought up this whole like the little things or like the funny things even, right? And the things you can notice. But I think that so much of that again is so unconscious that it can start even out that way, right? And turn into the big things.
Yes.
Or if you're looking at it and thinking, well, how do I stop doing that? You can look at the smaller things like that, right? And it's a little bit easier to take responsibility for these smaller things. And then as you get more used to that, you're like, okay, I play a part in a lot of the bigger stuff as well. And it just kind of makes the blow of that realization a little bit easier. I know for myself it did.
More of a softer landing.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that is, oh God, I would totally agree with you on that. And I think that's a great way to end our conversation tonight. If you guys, unless you have anything more you want to add to it, but we're going to have to do this again for sure.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm always blown away by how fast it goes.
Yeah.
Like,
Just flew by.
it flew by.
Thanks so
Yeah,
much for having us
you guys.
on. Yeah, you guys are just the best. We adore you.
I know. I love you guys too. And like, we haven't even met in real life yet. So, but we're not that far away. So we're going to have to.
It'll
Yeah.
happen.
But tell everyone where they can go find you.
Oh, amazing. Yes. So on Instagram, our handle is, because you guys are amazing, right there on the screen at The Relationship Coaches. And this is our website. Thanks, Mike. That's wicked. And
Yeah,
it's
no.
just relationships and then the letter R. So relationshipsareverything.com. And you'll see a pop-up there for our masterclass, and it's totally free. So you should check it out.
And what is your masterclass for the people who can't see the video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, no, go ahead.
You guys are so cute.
We shouldn't say that, but we've changed the name a few times, but really it is all about like the 3 secrets that we have. So we say, learn the 3 secrets to feeling seen, heard, and understood in your relationships without sacrificing your own needs, wants, desires, and expectations, that kind of thing. It's a long title, but
Okay. But that's the gist of what we're going to get when we go sign up for it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. Well, thank you guys very much. And we will do this again.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We look forward to it.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
You.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at LaRocque Life Podcast and online at LaRocqueLife.com. Ladies, find Laura on social media at Laura LaRocque and online at LauraLaRocque.com. Have a request for a show topic? We love that. Send us an email at michael@LaRocqueLife.com or DM at LaRocque Life Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review.